hello, companion to the companion listeners, and welcome to episode 46. You are traveling through time with Ian and I back to July 1st of 1997, and we are back at the Paradiso in Amsterdam, this time for a 2-night run to complete this 3-show-in-a-row run in Amsterdam. And wow, what a fine show this is. Ian, welcome.
Thanks for having me. Wormtown.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it is a great show. There's
Yeah.
I believe a review, one of the first reviews on the Live Phish app is one of the finest shows this app has to offer. And I'd love to be able to argue with that, but I'm just going to say it at the beginning of the episode. I don't think I can argue with it. I'm not saying there aren't things that are equally worthy. But as far as things that are in Live Phish, this is very fresh. Oof, terrible pun. What a horrible way to get started. Okay, let's talk about 7/1/97. We're in Amsterdam. This is very exciting for Phish fans.
Yes.
I think more so then in 1997 than now, because times have changed in terms of our relationship with marijuana. But in 1997, the idea of, as a Phish head, going to a city where, pot was legal and seeing Phish is a real dream come true. So I think the people that were at this show had to have been, having a real peak experience. I'll always be jealous. And let's talk about the music, I guess.
Yeah. I really like, pivotally in Phish's career too, I think, they went to Europe in the spring and did a short tour, and they went back in the summer before any US shows. So they play New Year's 96. I was there at the Fleet Center. It was great. And they don't play on American soil again until late summer. It was August, late July. And I think they were a different band. They really were. And I think these shows, as we'll get into later in this episode as well, there was a couple dozen shows, and there were a lot of opening slots and single set shows, but they really took it upon themselves in these 2-set shows to play new material, to really lay into new ideas and new concepts of how to play. And I think most people agree that over these 2 nights, they really came into fruition. The band was different, unique, changed, and we really, I can't say enough about this show, and re-listening to it again was magic. I mean, I remember getting these tapes. It was so many years ago, but I remember getting them, and they sounded fine, but not great. It's probably a similar recording to what I'll end up mixing in. But the official releases here are par excellence as far as recording quality. They are mixed beautifully. It does feel like you're sitting on the stage in a lot of ways. You put big speakers on with headphones, which is how you're supposed to listen to music. It is
Wink, wink.
It is all around you. It is wonderful stuff. So I'm big fan of the mixing. I don't know who mixed, but thank you.
Yeah, it sounds absolutely incredible on all of my varieties of stereos. No complaints. And and you're hearing the band. There's a couple things going on. It's because of the recording and because of the rooms that they're playing in. You're hearing subtleties in their playing, and the band sounds just different. They sound like a different band. You're hearing different things. You're feeling different things. Beyond that, like Sam had kind of mentioned before, the difference between the band that's playing here in July of 1997 and the band that played in February 1997 are almost as different as the band that was playing at New Year's 96 and the band that was playing in February 96. And the jump of those 7 months has to be the largest growth spurt in the history of the band. In terms of just, they are so different. And the crazy thing is once we get to summer 97, they're another different band, and they're taking a lot of lessons and a lot of the working out of tunes that they did on this tour, and then they bring it into summer 97, and we see some of these things we're seeing here fine-tuned, and other things that just, it's incapable, the band is incapable of pulling them off in an arena or a large size venue. They're musical feats that can only exist in a small room like this.
Yeah, and they're playing with a lot of new material. They are kind of trying to improvise in other songs different ways. they're just this spot in the band's career really sparked a new hope for us. I remember in the Phish world, that band they were kicking some songs off the list. They were excited about a lot of new things and new sounds. And I'm super excited about where they were going and where they're eventually going to end up.
So let's start talking about the actual show.
Yeah.
It opens up with a ghost. What's the song Ghost? I don't even know what this song is. Have you ever heard this song before?
I wonder if it's going to be short or if it's going to, if it's just going to keep going. Who knows?
Right. Yeah, it's definitely kind of weird. I've not heard any Phish songs like this one. It's kind of groovy.
I mean, people now, they look back and think, oh, this Ghost was great. Then there was no such thing as long ghosts. Like, this is brand new. And to be 23 minutes opening a show, they're really, sticking the flag in the ground and saying this is what we're here to do. And it's one of the highlights of the show. It's got a headphones. I mean, how many shows open with a headphone? I mean, maybe the first yet. I don't know. I don't have stats.
Yeah, I wouldn't even say this is a great long ghost. I would say this is a great long ghost.
Absolutely.
It really is wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, 23 minutes, just straight hyperfunk until about almost 9 minutes, about 8:40. And the Back of the Worm makes its appearance. Now, these two shows that we're going to be discussing... You're on the back of the worm. We're going to be hearing multiple throws out to this concept of being on the back of the worm, concluding in a straight up Wormtown jam.
Yeah.
In the next show that we're going to talk about. There's some flurries of some thoughts about where the root of this is. But Sam, I believe you have some background information that you can share with me and the rest of the podcast. A little bit more about the worm of Wormtown, the world,
it would be,
the city.
It would be cool if I could give a story that I was on the worm and I had this whole. But I'm not gonna. I was tempted to just riff a minute there. I was able to dig up an actual quote from Ernest Giuseppe in an interview that he said this. I usually don't talk about my drug use because I feel it's a private thing, but whatever. I'll tell you this one story. When we were in Amsterdam, me and a friend took a couple of hits of acid and a hit of ecstasy. Later on that night, we were walking around and I started imagining I was riding on this giant sandworm. Because the roads kind of go up and down, and I was picturing these huge sandworms diving up out of the canals. That's where you get the phrase back of the worm. That's where it came from. The next night, in the middle of this crazy jam, one of these jams that gets out of control and you feel like you're not really playing, it's just playing you. I think I was yelling that, and people started saying, back of the worm. Then I read about it on a t-shirt 6 months later, and I'm laughing because I was with my friend who was with me that night in Amsterdam, and we were just laughing that some guy was wearing a t-shirt with back of the worm on it. I mean, the t-shirt part makes me the happiest of all of that. And I, looking back at a man who's experiencing many years of sobriety saying, your drug use is personal. I'm glad Trey is still with us and that he's riding the sober worm now, so proud of him. But it makes its way all into this, and I think for us as listeners who didn't go to these shows, I think it's part of the Amsterdam lore is the worm, the back of the worm stuff, and where did this come from, and it adds a spooky overtone to a lot of these two shows.
Absolutely. Spooky funny.
Yes.
Spooky funny, I'd say. But spooky for sure. I guess it depends on the ears that are listening to it. But yeah, I mean, that happens about 10 minutes in, but it's still pretty funky. And then it moves into a very pretty sort of contemplative segment.
Pretty theme, yeah.
Yeah. And then it gets fast-paced, kind of rocking, and ends in a little, like a funky start-stop kind of wind down situation.
I love the funk at the end. I mean, it's behind the beat, like slow Phish funk, which there's been a lot of that, like upbeat, hey, like, You Enjoy Myself, Susie Greenberg, like 93.45, that has like a nice slick groove to it, but nothing like this. Like, this is absolutely new. Or even the Arco that we discussed had the James Brown upbeat stuff. This is completely different. This funk at the end of this Ghost was one of my favorite parts of both of these shows. I thought it was great. And I think it shows, we talked in 96 about how much the mini drum kit, I think, took away from the music of the band, but they were just trying to find new ways to do things, when at the end of the day, it was just Trey not soloing as much, truly, and the rest of the band members stepping up. I mean, he barely solos for the first 7 minutes of this, and I think it helps set the table for the band to stretch their limbs and really play as one in this new style. And this Ghost honestly encapsulates these shows and this tour perfectly, I think. It's great.
Yes, it really is. And by the time it wraps up, you just want to give it an A+ and say, okay, boys, you did it. You did.
And I mean, when you win that big at the top of a set, the rest is just gravy. And there is some great stuff in this set. I had forgotten some of it. I was really surprised. It was fun.
Yeah, I feel like if I was a director and I was making a film and I was going to do a sort of dreamlike interpretation of this performance, and how any Phish fan that was, and I'm sure there was a fair amount of people that didn't know who Phish was. So, but there are people that flew all the way out to watch Phish do this. And I imagine as soon as this Ghost ended, like, you would like pan back and look at the floor, just everyone would be like lying dead on the floor, just on their backs, just kind of like a little drool coming out of the side of their mouth.
Yeah.
It is a hell of an opening performance for a show.
Absolutely.
And then it kind of drops right into the dramatic, but I would argue mildly sloppy horn.
Yeah, I mean, we will discuss it more in the next show, I think, than this show, but I remember when I did get the tapes of this, I jumped and listened to certain songs that I'd known and I was excited about, the Mike's Groove from the next show. I remember listening to this horn too and thinking, like, I don't know. It's Amsterdam. This is like, this is meh, it's whatever. And I think sometimes the quality of the recording took away from some of the jams or the longer, really gorgeously improvised, but also subtly at times improvised pieces. But yeah, the horn was fine. I liked its placement. But we can move on. Yeah, it was good. And I think the ultimate summertime song kind of follows it up with this Yamar. And wow, the groove to this. Fishman, I think we talk all the time about Phish. We've probably given Fishman more MVPs than anyone else in the band at this point. But he crushes these shows. And I thought this Yamar was really a Fishman vehicle to... I just couldn't get enough. I found myself just listening to drums. Oh, Great stuff.
Oh, see.
Yeah. Yeah.
See. It's a Fishman fiesta, Sam.
Yeah.
It is an absolute fiesta. What a party. I love this Yamar. If you're looking for a performance to highlight the talent of the man, Johnny B. Fishman, check out this Yamar.
Yeah, I mean,
nothing flashy.
There's a Trey Fishman solo fantastic section. And I mean, it's a little sloppy coming back, but there, you know, people probably think, oh, the band probably got real stoned before these shows. I don't think so. I think they just feed off the energy of the room, and their playing is tight, clean, precise. Like, really, they're focused. They're working.
Yeah, I was just going to say, in horn, I think part of the problem is that in a room like this and with the recording like this, that even like the slightest little whatever it is very noticeable.
Yeah.
And that's why I think these shows are so impressive, is just like really the horn stands out as like a moment where something was a little bit off. It almost doesn't even really happen.
Yeah.
In the rest of the show, maybe once or twice. But anyway, Yamar, fantastic.
Yeah.
And we fall into a limb by limb.
Yeah.
Sam, talk to me.
Still early limb by limbs. And I, still a little fledgling and a little kind of, I don't know. I have words I noticed as I took a lot of notes in this show, and I started squaring words that helped to define the whole show. And Ghost, it was mesmerizing. In this limb by limb, it's hypnotic, gorgeous, my favorite, amazing, insane. There's a lot of, verbiage to try to describe all the things, hyperbole, if you will, to describe the playing in this show. And hypnotic is how the limb by limb felt to me. Like, instantly, you're just sucked into this thing. And it takes a few minutes, and around 5-ish, it clicks. But Trey, again, is like playing a couple too many notes. I always think about Mike in the Phish movie. Just like, hey, man, you're playing too many notes. But then around 8 minutes, he kind of chills out, and it suddenly becomes amazing. And it finishes, I think, really, really strong and kind of unique. I liked the outro. It's not the limb by limbs that will come in the summer. In the U.S. summer, but it is still very, very good. And it's light years from earlier on, I thought. It was great. I loved it.
Agreed. Just want to add a couple of points.
Yep.
Don't really have anything to argue with. I agree. It really lulls you into a sense of being inside of the music. And it has a lot of repetition in the phrasing, but it works. And I think the thing about Limb by Limb is, again, it's kind of like Vultures or Twist, where the first time I heard the song, I was just really stunned at the quality of the song. I mean, just kind of saying that. Because, again, we're talking about, just like we did with Ghost, this is the first time we're hearing Limb by Limb.
Yep.
So this is all very impressive. I mean, I remember thinking on the Summer 97 tour that Phish was hitting the peak of their songwriting, that this was some of the best stuff that they had done. It may be different than You Enjoy Myself, but still.
Well, there was collaborative writing. The collaborative writing really helped them out a lot. And you could sense it in a lot of these songs, like the vocals, how everybody had their parts. The music felt very for band member rather than I brought this piece in partially finished and we're just going to tighten the screws on it, mostly finished.
Mm-hmm.
And Limb by Limb feels very full band. I loved that vibe. Like as an audience member, we all like felt this. Yeah. The band is really crushing it, and they're happy together, and they're playing you felt the love. And these songs really mattered. It was great. And then
but like you said, I was going to say it descends into that, this ending jam, because it has like the Limb by Limb proper, and then it just kind of like melts into this propulsive, like, I don't know, like a dark nether space, and it's very heavy, and it's kind of like, it was like, it's like as George Carlin says in that special, like the big electron. There's like a sort of a magnetic force to it, but it really reminds me of the jams that pop up in Japan 2000. And it's like, it's a type of jam that they don't explore a ton in the next couple of years, but they do end up getting there eventually. And of course, they hit it in pockets, but this is one of the first times I recall it popping out is in this transition out of Limb by Limb into Ain't Love Funny, which is really a hell of a segue.
Yeah, I think my second high point of this set is this part. I loved the end of the Limb by Limb, and then Ain't Love Funny is like, I didn't know it really very much. And then when we saw it in Alpine in summer 97, it also came at a really beautiful moment, but sandwiched between two songs, and was a big high point for me of that show. And this one, again, just so gorgeous, so perfect, so well placed. There hadn't been any ballady kind of feel. Horn, maybe to a certain extent, but this was a really good choice of song. And I loved the duality of these two songs together. Looking at it as a singular piece, I thought it worked really, really well.
For sure. And, I don't want to diss J.J. Cale or anything. He's a great songwriter, great guitar player.
Yes, very much.
But I'm going to go ahead and give Phish a songwriting credit for Ain't Love Funny because what did I know? I was at this show. I got Ghost, it's new. I got Limb by Limb, it's new. I'm assuming Ain't Love Funny is another new one, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what they get for choosing obscure covers.
Yeah.
They get to receive credit for having written it. Just, that's how it goes.
They also kind of get to shine a light on some artists that, deserve it. And, Phish fans are music fans, and they're going to go out there and start digging into J.J. Cale and finding out what the hell's going on. And it's great.
Right.
Yeah.
And thank you for that, Phish.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we did. And then the song with the most absurd beginning of this show. I don't know. We've discussed before. I've got mixed feelings about Saw It Again. I don't know. It's fine. I think it's silly and absurd and, rocking and rolling. I can't tell if they're into it or not. I don't know if this was their we need to step the rock up and then realizing the venue wasn't really calling for it this night. I couldn't tell. I don't know how you felt about. Was Mike's silliness over the top with his tone? I can't tell.
For me, never. But I certainly am willing to entertain that point of view. I mean, I'm an I Saw It Again lover. I think, the first time I heard it at Shoreline or here in 97, I was like, oh, were they kind of mocking the sort of like repetitive hard rock anthem song? I wasn't sure what the tone of the song was.
I'm still not.
But I do think over the years, they've really embraced it and really push it to the edge, and it's very fun. And I do have to say, I've seen a lot of I Saw It Agains, or several, and I loved them all. They're so fun to see live. So I do think maybe it's just an energy song. It's not like the lyrics are all that great, but a great energy song. And this one, I forget how you like to refer to Mike's fart bass. You have a more technical term.
It's absurd, and that's fun. I'll add that to my list of words used to describe absurd. But
and then we get into dirt. Yeah,
another ballad, I guess.
Dirt.
Another ballad.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I believe the song is called Green Grass and High Tides Forever. My mistake.
When was it officially switched to dirt? After? Before?
You know what? Fishman may have been joking.
Yes.
That's what he says during this. And this performance has a rare thank you, which is always nice.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I thought I always love the guitar solo in this. It was well executed. Again, new and fun and exciting, and seeing the band really choosing new material in the big moments. It was great.
Right.
But then when the dirt ends, you would think Reba hits and you're going, oh my God, this is going to be the greatest Reba I've ever seen in my whole life. And it is good. But, this is the slot to put it. This is they did the right thing. It was the right musical call. I thought it was okay. I don't think it really went over the top. I think the interplay is good, especially at the beginning of the jam. I just think the build kind of doesn't crescendo the way we're used to. It does have the whistling ending, though, which made me really happy. Maybe the small room brought it back. I don't know. What are your thoughts on Reba?
Yeah, there's a little bit of botching going on. The jam is pretty good, and it has a really big emotional ending, which I like. And, to see a performance like that in a small room had to have been pretty incredible.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a Reba that I'm going back to listen to. Even with the sound quality, I still think I would probably be choosing other Rebas.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to skip over it. If I'm listening to the show, I'll listen to the Reba.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that one. And then your...
Gosh, I sound so like downtrodden, just like I have to listen to the Reba. But like you said, you're a little thrown off because of the expectations.
Yeah, I think they were a little high. But I still, if I was in the room, it would have been amazing. And then your favorite song to close the set out. More new stuff.
Dogs stole things. More new stuff. So much new stuff. And yeah, I don't love Dogs Stole Things, but I don't hate it like many. This is like their white blues closer.
Yeah, I think they have fun playing it. I think the band's good at this style of music. I think it lets Trey loose a little bit to just kind of do his thing. And, they all sound good. They all are playing tight and clean, and it's fine. It's absolutely fine.
I do think once on the other times they speed it up a little bit, make it a little bit more poppy and not bluesy, it improves a bit.
Sure, yeah.
That's my opinion.
Yeah, in listening back through, I've also completed the first set of the next show in my listening trajectory here. In listening back, there's some ups and downs that it's rare to look at two sets of this band and say there's not a wrong note, there's not a wrong song choice, there's not a missed opportunity. They're always taking risks, and I like that we're willing to call out whatever we feel like. Speaking of a risk that I don't know goes where it should, set 2 opening, Fishman Keyboard Jam. I don't know. What are your thoughts on the cute melody?
This sounds like maybe they're hanging out. They've been maybe doing a little bit of drinking.
They're loose,
Fish
yeah.
is like,
loose.
And Fish is like, I'm gonna play some 70s TV show themes on the keys, and he's just kind of tinkering around on the keys. And I can hear a little bit of the Quincy Jones and that era, and just that sound of the keys. I don't know. Yeah, it's funny, and then it kind of transitioned to this like jazzy sort of thing where he's just kind of like at first just like dun dun dun, and then he's gonna like it's a little bit like of a jazzy version of it, and yeah, Jazz Odyssey, I guess. And then all of a sudden the Casio kind of sound comes in, and then it's like kind of video game madness for a second before it quickly segues into Timber Ho.
Yeah, I didn't mind the video game madness. It was funny.
Yeah.
I would have rather the band came out and did a very spacey 6-minute intro to Timber. But again, we're splitting hairs and being picky. It did make me happy to see how loose they felt. It was kind of like when they came out that second night in Vegas 2000 and they were all on wrong instruments, and they opened with Walfredo. At the Thomas and Mack Center, this big ass arena, they just walk out on different instruments, opening up set 1, totally different instruments. You're like, what the fuck is going on?
I loved that.
I do, and I would have loved this too. In the moment, it's very like when the band's loose and having fun and laughing and big smiles, you know that what's coming is going to be great, and it's absolutely true in this set.
Yes.
So,
what kind of notes do you have for Timber Ho?
I mean, we discussed this previously when we discussed all the Timbers. It's a good version, and it sets a vibe of, the first set had a lot of happy songs and like watery grooves, and I think this sets a vibe of like we are going to be a little darker and a little more exploratory, and it's short and sweet and well played and great. I wouldn't seek it out. It's kind of like you said, the Reba. I think it was very good, but I wouldn't go seek it out on its own. But if I'm listening to this whole set of music, I would start at the Timber every time.
Yeah, it's got some great Weedly Dee, Weedly Dee, Weedly Doos.
Yeah.
Trey's,
Weedly Doos, Weedly Don'ts.
It gets kind of soaring there for a minute. Yeah. I really enjoyed it. It's a nice start to the set.
Yeah.
And then that goes into the bathtub gin.
Yes.
Did I say that too fast? Bathtub gin.
No, that's fine. You said it fast. Yeah, this one. So it takes a minute. Again, like I like the vocals. It's fun. It's going well. There's some real synth bass effects around 8 I liked. By 10, it gets really out there. And that's where this dissonant, dark, I mean, the room must have sounded really, really good too, or the on-stage sound, because the band is they play with sounds and textures and subtle tones and notes and multiple washes of effects going on in the background, and they all seem to be able to really pick them out and play with things. And I think the quality of this recording, again, leaps and bounds to my enjoyment of this show. And this gets out there. It's so slow and Amsterdam-y, and like you get that Back of the Worm kind of vibe again. And then it kind of works its way to the groove at the end, which is wild. That's when the Mike Page stuff starts. And I don't want to move to the next song. So what are your thoughts on the gin?
It's the dynamics, the elasticity are wonderful. And I think that it's just got that, it's got that wonderful stretchy rubber band molasses. Sort of like this band is bending all over the place, and you can feel the sort of groove kind of seeping in a new way to the gin, but it's not funky. But it really is elastic, and it's so fun to listen to. But yeah, it gets like a lot of bathtub gins. It takes a little while to get going, but once it's there, you're really bouncing in that groove, and you don't want it to end. And very fun. It doesn't hit like a type 2 situation or anything like that, but as far as a type 1 bathtub gin goes, really great and spectacular sounding.
Yeah, I mean, I do. My only quibble with that is it gets out there around that 10-minute mark. There's like a few minutes of it's not casual listening anymore. It's
no, yeah.
But it does stay close to, it's not super long. It does kind of stay close to the vibe until the transition section, and then that part gets
correct.
I really do love the Mike and Page at the very end of this gin prior to it moving on into the cities. It's very cool and great playing.
It is.
Big ears by everybody. And again, Trey's stepping back. He's given space.
But speaking of the elasticity, like it really does kind of stretch into that cities. Like it's kind of like the music really.
It's so like slow. Yeah. And like warbly and just terrifyingly grooving, but also like off kilter in a way that's really cool. I liked it a lot.
Yeah. The transitions from song to song in this show are some highlights. That's kind of where the real special meat is in the transitions.
Yeah, and when there's a couple arrows like this that deserve some arrows, and then the cities that it moves into is the second headphones of the night, and it's a big one, and it quickly devolves out of cities, but it is slow and goopy and just a mess. and then the jam kind of starts to rock. Then it calms down a little bit and gets like really pretty and gentle. And there's a section here like around 9 or 10 where Mike kind of takes the lead, and I really loved that section. I really love that Mike really the weight of this band at this point is they are trying to push everybody out to the front, and rather than it being soloists over a certain section of music where you're building a solo and this is where this person does this, they're trying to find improvising ways to support each other in new and wholly new different ways. And then it even after
I'm
that,
gonna stop you right there.
No.
Just stop right there.
Yep.
Stop right there.
I'm stopping.
Let me catch up, and then we'll move on. Then we'll move on from there because it's a big jam.
Yeah, so we're like 10-ish. I'm less than halfway through.
I think, okay, I was assuming you were about 14 right now, but maybe 12. Maybe 12.
Sure.
Okay, so yeah, the start is, I think you really undersold it with slow. It's slower than slow. There are slow cities, and then there's this, and it's comedically slow.
I have molasses written down. They stuck in the molasses.
Yeah, to the point where you just imagine that they are laughing on stage, and that you're like, how are they going to actually pull this off? But remarkably, they do. Mm-hmm. And it really is great. And then at 9:50, kind of like you were mentioning, that there's this moment where it kind of like goes out of tune for a second. I think it's Trey kind of messing with his pedal, and it just kind of like, I don't know, it like kind of clicks, and it kind of says, "Woo, I hit a lot of kindas. I'm so sorry, everybody." And then it clicks and just becomes this new thing all of a sudden. So for sure, type 2 here at 10 minutes. And then, this is just Mike telling the story. Mike is telling the story of the cities. And to me, it's all Mike. Trey is 100% color from now until about 15 minutes. It really is minimal conversation. I guess everybody's saying very little.
Sure.
But what they're saying is very important and is really working with the other words in the conversation. This is really some special stuff.
Yeah.
I listened to the city a few times.
Yeah, this is the section that got me here. Is
correct.
It feels like Mike is out front for a lot of it, or leading a conversation that goes for many minutes. But it truly is the rest of the band, just the way they fill into everything and the way they give him that support structure to just go. It sounds like no other band. It was one of those moments where like, what's going on here? This is wild. And I loved it. And this was a immediate re-listen. I just got to jump back to that section and just listen to all of this again. It was great.
And then what would you say in terms of from this point in the jam until, like, I guess it's about 20 minutes, 18 to 20 minutes when we start.
Yeah, it does kind of find a groove
stuff.
eventually, and like everyone kind of locks back into a groove, and it pushes into the "Can You Hear Me Knockin'" jam, and then into some more funk, and then it won't stop. Like, I thought the "Can You Hear Me Knockin'" jam, it would be like kind of just move its way out of the song, but then it goes back to a whole nother funk jam after that, which I thought was great as well. Yeah, it's great.
And there are some teases. We've got a mildly flubbed "London Bridge is Falling"
yes.
Tease. And then shortly after, sort of a truncated, abstract "Santa Claus is Coming to Town"
a little bit.
tease.
Yep.
I believe they would say. I always think these teases are so funny because they're the type of teases that maybe, you know, if you were 3 sheets to the wind at the time you were seeing it in the show, you'd be like, I know this. What is this? But you wouldn't really be able to place it maybe till later. Maybe London Bridge, but Santa Claus certainly not so much. But he does hit classical teases like that quite often, where your brain does have to say, I don't know exactly what it is, but I know this.
What
and
I talked about the Santa Claus is Coming to Town tease in the Shoreline. Is it you enjoy myself for years, and everybody's like, I don't know. And it's obvious to me, very clear and obvious. And this was kind of like that because it is weirdly distorted, but you get just enough of it.
Yeah.
And I wrote at the end, like, by the end of this jam, the new Phish is fully reborn. Like, they're out. Like, it really got me, the Gin to the Cities, as a 2-song kind of composed piece. It felt like a whole new band. Very, very A+ impressive stuff.
Absolutely. And even to this day, it's like a new, like this section that we're kind of talking about here from like 10 minutes until I guess maybe like 18 minutes or so is like, I don't know what's the best way to put this. I feel like we're in the ER of Wormtown. It's kind of like beepy and bloopy. It's very hospital-like, very dream-like. I feel like there might be surgeons doing something to my body. I'm not totally sure. It's a little plucky-plucky. It's weird, and it's unlike other music, and I'm hard-pressed to pick out another jam that I would compare to the Cities. So kudos to them for making this unique statement.
It's avant-garde, and it is rooted in rock and funk and the things Phish listens to, but when they get this far out there, you trust them to come back, but it still is, they are throwing paint at a wall. They are being very, people say, I won't get into an art discussion with you, but there are people, Philistines, who will say, well, Jackson Pollock just threw paint at a wall, and he's famous for that. What the hell am I looking at? But someone who knows what to look for looks at it and sees that it's not just paint thrown at a wall. It's all of the years of effort and work that this person put into their craft, that every stroke and motion and movement they make while creating that piece isn't just throwing things. They are doing it with purpose and intent. And I feel like that Phish was confident enough at this point to really push themselves out there. And maybe it did take Europe and smaller clubs and less of a rabid fan base audience that was a little bit different, or that was willing to spend thousands of dollars to go to Europe to see them with that kind of commitment, that they felt comfortable to paint way outside of the box like this and to continue to do so for the rest of their career till now. It was great.
Yes, I think that I agree with that. But when they're in the States and they're playing like a big sort of American venue, they can only go so far out. So they can do a big extended jam, but it does need to be more structured and has to have more energy. This jam feels unique to me in its airiness, in its sparseness, I guess. Yeah,
and the willingness to not stop, which I really like.
Yeah, it really does break, like it really does dissolve into nothing, which is just my favorite thing in a jam, when they really just gotta like stop and be like, okay, now let's build from here.
Yeah,
and it's just the greatest.
You got to get a sip of water sometimes too. You got to lean over and so you never know what's happening. And then
true.
To follow it up, yes, I think picking something that is positive and get the, win back the room that they may have lost a few people with the last song. This was a really great choice. I love Loving Cup in this slot. I thought it was perfect. Big fan of this song. I said to you before too, I think Mike turns it up to 11 on this one. Like, he really, like, he's prominent in the mix, but this was like, maybe he had like cranked everything up during the jam before, and like he had a little more oomph, and yeah, it was great. Really well placed.
Yeah, it very well placed, much needed energy boost, very fun and rare at the time.
Yeah.
So again, if you were coming from America, this isn't just another Loving Cup, or
yeah, it was the beginning of it really becoming much more common.
Yeah, I mean, it was really exciting when we saw one in '97.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
In Desert Sky, I believe.
Yeah, and then
into the Slave to the Traffic Light in the same position as the Reba, filling the same goal, or attempting to fill the same goal. How'd we do, Slave?
Solid. I see this as almost the perfect akin to the Reba in each set, where am I going to go back and crank this Slave up all the time? Nope. But was it great? Yeah. Did it have a beautifully slow, patient build at the top, which I think Slave kind of has two parts that need to work as well as they can in order to create a Slave above all others. And the first is it needs to have a very patient beginning, calm, gentle, good listening. This one really had that. Slow build. Then the peak needs to just build upon itself until it takes the roof off the fucking building. And I thought this one, solid peak. But the beginning, space, quiet, introspective part of the song I thought was really, really well played. I enjoyed it.
I love Slave, and I love the song placement. It just sounds so tiny in this room to me, would be my complaint, is maybe I'm listening to the Slave and I'm thinking this song is meant for a big arena. It's meant for like a giant space, when the sort of quietness can really take hold and the build is that much more powerful. So it didn't hit me as hard, but I do think it is crystal clear. I wouldn't say skip it, but again, not one I'm going back to.
Yeah.
But yeah, they get it together and do the business, and it has a nice big finish, and it's a great finish to the set, but not an all-timer.
No, but good. Well done. And as far as encores go, huge fan of Circus Comes to Town. This was probably this tour. Well, they were playing this on the February-March tour, I believe, and I remember hearing it at those shows when we got tapes of those, and not knowing it was a Los Lobos cover until I started reading about it. And I loved it from day one. I still love it. If I went and saw them next week, I would hope they would encore with it. Big fan. And it is difficult. Like, you really got to nail the solos. They're so emotional. Each line is so well written. It reminds, like I was saying with Dirt earlier, where the emotionality of the guitar lines over the melody, how it counterpoints the vocal melodies from before. Like, you really have to nail this stuff. And there was a couple flubs. It wasn't perfect. I've heard some perfect ones, and wow, it's chills. And this had its chills moments, but the band seemed like emotion was still pouring off them. I think they were very proud of the show they just played, and this encore was perfect.
It was. I really enjoyed it, and I do love Circus Comes to Town as well.
Yeah.
Again, I just got to get back to like the cover choices here. Circus Comes to Town, Loving Cup, Timber Ho. I mean, that's a cover they've been playing for a while, but just the weirdest covers. Just the weirdest.
Yeah, Ain't Love Funny.
Great.
Yeah, weird covers. All of them.
But
Yamar.
like you said, kind of
yeah.
opening the door to these new artists.
Yeah.
And what a great gift they've given us by doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. No, A+ Phish show. Couple little, like, you know, you don't need to listen to them more than the first time, but still give them a spin. If you like them, by all means, keep going. But the high points of this show are many, and huge fan. Really excited to talk about the next show as well. And I think, as I mentioned earlier, we wanted to talk about this tour more broadly. So as our kind of deep dive of this episode, we were saving for the end. We decided we would, prior to this show, listen to all the shows on the tour leading into this night. And then our deep dive of the next show will be all the shows that follow that night. It's such a short tour. It was a way for us to kind of hop through Europe with the band a little bit. There were some shows that I had never, ever listened to, some one-set shows. And in honesty, I did not listen to all of them. I skipped around a little bit. I enjoyed some of the, you know, I went and listened to some heavy hitter songs from some of the one-set shows. But I listened to all the two-set shows. I may have found one of my new favorite shows of the current time still. I've listened to it a few times now. I love it. I want an official release. And so we're going to talk through them. Again, their second return to Europe this year was the 13th and 14th in Dublin, Ireland. They had 15 debuts over the 2 nights. It was insane, I would think. Absolute insanity to be at these Dublin shows. Some of the shows in this run are rated a little low, which is a bit of a crime, I think. There's some really good playing in a lot of them. I just think the standards have changed now, and every single show the band plays is like a 4.7, I guess. But these shows were all great, and you could tell they were confident to do this many new songs. There's a couple covers. Jesus, let's read it off. The debuts of Dog Stole Things, Limb by Limb, Velvet Sea, Water in the Sky, Vultures, Ghost, Olivia's Pool at this point that becomes Oblivious Fool, Bye Bye Foot, Twist, Piper, Waking Up, Dirt, Saw It Again, and then the Stand Isabella covers. Just from these 2 nights. So I what a band. I mean, this reminds me of those 92 shows where they pulled out all the covers or all the new songs and the Rift era, you know, it was amazing.
And some standouts from these shows on the 13th. We've got our Vultures.
Mm-hmm.
Vultures is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Along with Twist from this era. And it's such a shame that it didn't get more love when they really do start to play with the intricacies. I mean, it's so complicated, this jam that they worked out with such these simple lyrics, what they do in Twist Around and Vultures, and these kind of overlapping lyrics. It's such a cool period for them, and I really loved what they were doing there. So I can't say enough that you should just go back and listen to all the Vultures, but this Maze is incredible from the 13th. Yeah, and the Stand Isabella Encore was really great. Taste, of course, we've discussed in the past, but I listened to all of the tastes from this entire tour. I had intended on ranking them, and I realized that was an unnecessary and futile task because they're all great and they all have different sections that are really wonderful. And I do feel like I didn't get that perfect taste that they will get to in summer 97, where we are still sort of building, but they're all great. And then Sam, tell us a little bit about this Cavern on the 14th.
Oh, I'm very quickly going to say, I think now Chalk Dust is jammed out a lot, but this jam from the Chalk Dust into the Ghost, it wasn't long, but it was also cool on the 13th. And then the 14th is the well, it's the first funk, pure funk free, which I thought was great. I still miss the old free. I thought it was great. I thought the Bowie was strong, but then the Cavern, they just abandoned into straight ahead funk, in a way that I've never. I was shocked. It came out of nowhere.
Well, we've heard it. We heard it at the Island Tour a couple of years later, when it really is almost exactly the same thing.
Yeah, it's
maybe exactly is too strong, but very close.
It's 10 plus minutes long. It's crazy.
It's unbelievable that they didn't do this between this show and the Island Tour.
Yeah.
How did they not do it in all of summer and fall 97?
It could have maybe happened and slipped by us, but I don't think so.
I don't think it's...
No, I think they were just in the moment having a great time. It was awesome. Really great.
Yeah. So don't miss that one.
Yeah, and then we jumped...
Then we got...
to the 16th.
Well, we jumped to the Royal Albert Hall show. So the show is something because... I love this music magazine called Mojo, which is a British music magazine, and I'm sure I brought it up before on this podcast, but they don't show Phish respect. They show the Dead a little bit of respect, but I've talked to my British friend who says that they're just, these bands aren't big there, and I suggested that it's maybe a cultural difference, that just the style of Phish and the playfulness and the giddiness and the stupidness, the cult-likeness is a turnoff for the Brits. But Mojo did a pretty unsavory review of this show, and I never really took the time to listen to the whole thing. So I did, and it really has some great stuff in it. I mean, do I think it's the best show of the tour? Far from it. But I wouldn't skip the Wolfman's Brother, wouldn't skip the Taste, I wouldn't skip the Limb by Limb or the Ghost or the Harry Hood. But conversely, I would skip the Cities. They did a Cities encore, and I do not like. It just did not work out on this night. They couldn't find the groove. It just wasn't the right rhythm. So maybe not the best way to end. Well, they did Pour Hard afterwards. Yeah. So there's that. So we got the Royal Albert Hall.
Well, I like the Reba from this too. I thought it goes Reba. A little Type 2-ish. I bet you if this Reba was a perfect soundboard, it could rival, if not surpass, the one from the show we just discussed. So there's these shows, smaller venues, the band is really calm and confident and trying new things, and they're choosing to not improvise in some songs and just play them tight and clean. But then other songs like The Cavern from the show before, and then this Reba going a little out on a limb, they're trying things because they feel confident in the rooms they're in. And they don't have to play for 20,000 people, so they're not having to maintain the energy and the eyeballs of that many people all the time. And I really appreciate all the subtleties of these shows. But I'd give it a listen. I'd have everyone give the Royal Albert Hall a listen. Yeah. And then it jumps a couple days to Vienna on the 19th. What'd you think of Austria?
The Prince Caspian, Jesus Left Chicago, Prince Caspian was fantastic. The Stash was really great and set too. Yeah. Of course, there's the Vultures in the first set, which was a little bit massacred, but still, you should still listen to it.
Yeah.
Because the algorithm is listening.
Yeah, there's a...
I do...
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, before we move on from the Royal Albert Hall, if you're going to be listening to this Phish Royal Albert Hall show, treat yourself, listen to the Spiritualized live album at Royal Albert Hall. You can thank me later. Okay.
Well, Mojo would agree with you on that pretty hard, too.
We're me and Mojo back in agreement.
Bunch of fucking wankers. That was a bad accent. In Vienna, the extended Waste jam in the first set I thought was really cool. I think Waste gets shit on a lot. I love that song. No matter what, I'm happy to see it. And if they extended the jam out like this, they're playing with things. And I thought it was well done, well executed, and a nice little bonus. And then there's only 2 headphones on this whole tour leading into Amsterdam, and one of them is the stash from this show. And I don't know, it was fine. It takes a long time to get really great, but I thought, 14, 15 in there, it kind of takes like a weird swampy funk turn and then settles into this like straight funk that's pretty cool into Ghost. I thought it was good. I don't know about headphones, but I did think it was good. It was nice.
This is a weird period for Stash. It gets into some strange places.
Yeah, I agree.
But I like that.
Yeah.
I didn't mention The Waste, mostly just due to shame since I didn't listen to it. But I look forward to hearing it after this podcast.
Yeah, it's just a little bit extended, but when they're doing that to a song that you normally, like, I would skip over a lot of stuff, but I tried to listen to all the way through all the 2-set shows. So yeah, you'd catch those things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we jump to Prague on the 20th.
Yeah, this show sucks.
Yeah,
S-U-X. Well, listeners of the Companion to the Companion, this is a moment. These are the moments that Sam and I were hoping would happen.
Yep.
This is the stuff. Sam, take it away.
Well, this is why I just figured I haven't listened to all these shows, and or the ones I have, it's been a long time. Like, let's just plow through them and see what happens. And I start listening to the 20th, and I just put it on. I'm like, okay, I'll just start. Every single song from this show is amazing. Every song's got a little twist, a little something. Taste starts out, and you're like, all right, Taste, and then it goes into this jam. You're like, wait a minute, what is happening right now? And it's an entire separate piece of music that they just improvise in the moment into the cities. Every single song, like the debut of Ain't Love Funny from this show, the Limb by Limb is such a great version. I really, really, they're figuring it out still. The Strong Antelope that finishes set 1, and we're not even into set 2 yet. Every song in the first set has a little tweak, a little something. You can tell that they're really feeling it. I was blown away just by the first set. I wasn't even done with the first set when I texted you, like, hey, have you listened to this show yet? You need to go and listen to this. Yeah.
Yeah, and I hadn't.
Yeah.
And I would give this, the second set notwithstanding, which is great.
Yeah.
97 set. But this first set is a Spinal Tap, an 11 out of 10.
Yeah.
I mean, it is just something else. The jam that happens after Taste, it starts innocently enough, and then all of a sudden it gets feisty and kind of raw and like playful. It's like a Medeski, Martin, and Wood jam.
Yeah.
It's really cool and really unique. It would make phenomenal soundtrack music. I keep coming back to this point, but this type of Phish music, I just really want to hear it on a movie theater stereo system.
And they're one song into the show. They're one song into the show.
It's amazing. And then it goes into a Brisky Cities, and compared to the one at the Royal Albert Hall, this one is so hot. Yeah. Love it. The difference in the rhythm section just changes everything. And like you said, the last minute's a full departure from the song.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 2001 Funky is All, and the Taste. Yeah.
Yeah, everything was really A+. And like you said,
what did I say? 2001. What did I just say?
you mean the Limb by Limb?
Yeah, the Limb by Limb, and then the I Don't Care, which is like we don't. What song is that? But again, just an energy song that kind of rocks out, and it's not terribly different Like, what do you think of I Don't Care? It almost kind of seems like a failed I Saw It Again in a way. It's like real rockin'. It's kind of hard.
They pushed it a little this tour and they abandoned it because it doesn't work. But they tried. Right. They tried. It wasn't one of those silly songs that could pop up now and then. And they were trying to make it a rocker and it just didn't. I don't know. Sometimes you think you're going to work it out on stage, and sometimes you get out there and you do it a few times and give it the work it deserves. And yeah, it's not going to happen.
Right.
Which is fine. And set 2, over 20-minute Bowie to open. Super solid. Right. Really well done. Bye Bye Foot. The twist also gets really wild and funky and then gets ambient and gentle. This twist was A+. And that's Julius. What? Like, I thought one of the most, like, when we did our Julii, all our favorites, this flew way under my radar. Never listened to it, never thought about it. And if there were good releases of this could be in the running for one of the greatest ones ever. It was...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. get out there and
we do the best we can.
Get out there and listen to this show, everybody. Give it some plugs and some ears on it. It's worth it. Even just the audience recordings, they're not great, but they are good enough. And yeah, you can sift through. It's worth it. And then this back half here, we get into a run of a bunch of one-setters. So we've got Germany on the 21st. Not great sound, but listenable. We've got Germany again on the 22nd. It's a one-set festival. And there's a soundboard again, which is great. Couple solid songs. Then we get to France. Do you have anything to say about the German shows?
Yes, I do. Oh, the German shows? No, I have only things to say about the French shows. Love the Germans.
Yeah.
I'm sure they, but yeah, nothing particularly outstanding that you need to check out. But yeah, we go to Strasbourg, France, and again, great Vultures. Surprised to hear from me, getting a little repetitive over here. And then a really cool Runaway Jim, Gypsy Queen. Runaway Jim, I really like that pairing.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Another super awesome free.
Upbeat funk. Good.
Cool Wolfmans.
Mm-hmm.
Set closing to Ghost. Has a big rockin' finish after the funk.
Yeah, this Wolfman's really was like that. You're kind of getting that glimpse of dance party Phish, it's to come.
Mm-hmm.
It was fun.
Yep. Yeah, really. I liked all the Wolfmans. There was a few Wolfmans from this tour, and I really liked them all.
Yeah.
That's actually kind of a hot take. I guess that's probably going to be the biggest hot take from this episode. 97 Wolfman's good. I mean, you heard it here, folks. First here, folks.
That weird little quirky song they wrote a few years earlier and couldn't quite figure out. It's pretty good this year. Yeah, it's not so bad.
Pretty good. Okay, and the next show, this is, again, like the 20th. Yeah. This is some real shit. Although this wasn't a secret.
Yep.
People know about this.
Yeah, this is much loved, much lauded on, much enjoyed in my life prior to this, but it was real cool to give it a re-listen.
Yeah, it's great, and I haven't spent too much time listening to the first set, and the first set is great.
Yeah. I didn't also listen to the first set very much, and in re-listen, I enjoyed it. I thought the taste was good, but the AC/DC bag with the funk treatment this time, like they're really like picking a song now and then and just like it goes straight into absolute funk. And this song does not do that very often. It was surprising and very enjoyable. But it's all about set 2 in the show.
22-minute Down with Disease into Piper. First Piper? We've had Pipers before?
I think so. I'm going to say yes.
Have we talked about a Piper before?
I don't.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to say they played it, but we have not talked about it. Maybe it's the first one. You're asking the wrong guy. I don't have facts at my fingertips. I am, but you'll do the research. So this run, absolutely, every time I heard it, I remember when we got the tapes, we wore these out. It was so exciting. What is this band? And we got them before we started seeing the band in the summer, or we got them just after we got back from summer 97 tour. But this set in particular was on rotation a lot in our lives.
Right. The Piper was the third time played.
Okay.
614, 619. Oh, fourth time, 624, 625.
Great. Yeah, it's short and sweet still, but the way it's placed in this was amazing. Like you said, long Down with Disease, a nice, gorgeous, tight little Piper. I remember Ryan really falling in love with this Piper. And then back to Down with Disease into the Can You Hear Me Knockin' teases was so well. The back to Down with Disease was just perfect and such a fist pumper.
It was.
to the
That was amazing.
first ever meat stick, which was industrial and weird and made no sense. And I think that's why it went into this reggae McGrupp.
Correct.
Which, as I was reading about this, someone said this is how they used to play it. And I went and listened to some 80s ones. And I was like, I guess so. But it was great. I liked the Dave screams. It was...
The spotted stripers, multi-beast, and thereby cheat his grave. I'd like to get his autograph, but he looks too much like Dave. He looks too much. He looks too much. He looks too much. He looks too much like Dave. He looks too much like Dave. He looks too much. He looks too much. He looks too much.
And then into Makasupa and into Cecilia, I think the only Cecilia which was Fishman playing drumsticks on a towel and singing.
Yes.
I mean, and then a strong antelope to close the set. Of all this Europe July, June, July tour, I would highly recommend set 2 of this show. Everyone should listen to this as well.
Yeah, of course, yes, Sam knows what he's talking about. Why would I dare contradict what he just said? It's great. I would just add that the McGrupp and the Watchful Hose Masters is trying to find the words to express how I feel about it. Everything is so exaggerated in it. All of their musical contributions are so comedic and exaggerated that I get it's like the old sort of reggae, or it's a different tempo, but it is a ridiculous performance. Yeah. There isn't anything about this McGrupp that isn't comedy to me. I'm not like, when I listen to this thing, it's all laughs.
Yeah.
So is it musically satisfying? Absolutely. Is it well played? Definitely.
Yeah.
Is the conversation locked in and on rails? 100%. Yep. Is it just hilarious comedy rock? Yes.
Yeah, I think it's all the things except being too serious, but it's everything else. Yeah.
But for a very complicated composition and a serious composition like McGrupp, I mean, it has lyrics like "He looks too much like Dave," which sillies it up even in a normal version. But like Zappa, I love seeing this juxtaposition of silly comedy music and difficult composition.
Yeah, done with real skill and style. And then rounding it out, I think part of what leads into Amsterdam being so great as well is the next 2 nights, or the 27th and the 29th, Phish play some festivals. Neither set was super impressive. The first festival they are playing with Beck, Ooh, David Byrne, Pavement, Radiohead, Smashing Pumpkins, Stereolab, and Spearhead as some of the bands. And then the 29th, it is Beck, Charlie Hunter, David Byrne, Ani DeFranco, Motley Crue, Pavement, and Primus. So lots of cool bands, lots of fun. The band, Phish probably got to see a lot of these acts. They saw this as probably a giant party, and they were playing their own sets, playing them well. But they really, walking into those shows in Amsterdam, were probably geared up, fired up, really excited. And I think that I really enjoyed listening to all these shows leading into Amsterdam. I thought it gave me a really good picture and a snapshot of why these Amsterdam shows loom so large in the lore of Phish, why they matter.
Well said. I think that's true, because they weren't playing to their audiences the last couple nights, and they're kind of like, oh, we're coming into Amsterdam to our people.
Yeah.
It was a homecoming of a weird abstract homecoming of sorts.
Yeah, and they probably were thinking people that were flying from the States to Europe to see shows, they were coming to Amsterdam.
Right.
Those were the tickets that were sold to the people. They're like, I can only make a few days. I can't go spend a month in Europe, but I can spend a week, and I'm going to Amsterdam for sure.
Yes.
And doing 2 nights there was a smart move. And
bro, gotta get there.
Wasn't it Kevin that was trying to get there at this time? Didn't that happen?
Well, I would assume so.
I don't know why he didn't make it. Maybe he did. I don't know. If you see him again, ask him. We'll guest him. We'll plug him in.
I have to feel that if he was at this, I would have heard about it up till now. But Sam is making a wonderful clapping noise in honor of our good friend Kevin Hemstreet. You're the best. And, we're going to give you credit for having been to the show. Next time I see you, Kevin, I'm going to ask you how this show was. And you're going to tell me, I don't even remember it. It's going to be a great answer.
Yeah, that works.
Because I doubt a lot of the people that were at this show remember a lot about it.
Well, I would love to take a time machine back and do some Europe 97 again. And to feel 20 again would be nice too. Yeah. No,
Sam, when I say back of the worm, what's the first thing you think of? Where are you? What does it look like?
It looks like Amsterdam. It's cobblestone streets. It's canals. I just think that all I want to do is yell back, I think you know where you are. So
you're on the back of the
that
worm.
would be my plan. This is kind of like the new Quaid Army. The old Quaid Army.
I'm such a cinematic guy. I think Dune. I think Beetlejuice. I think Tremors.
Oh.
I just think of all these like giant worms and then riding on the top of them.
I think of them tucking through the little canals and in and out of sewer grates and just be creeping through a city. I picture it dark and damp. The walkways are all damp. Again, I haven't been to Amsterdam. And I'd see skinny canals, almost Venetian-style canals, and I see worms, big worms, kind of weaving their way through. And when you're walking, you feel them rumble under you like a subway. You kind of step over the big manhole covers or like the subway grates,
Right. I love that. To any listeners out there that just listened to Sam's description and are now looking to watch a movie, can I just recommend to you CHUD? CHUD stands for Cannibalistic Humanoid Underground Dwellers. Go check it out. It's a John Hurt classic. Okay.
Yeah, I was leaning more towards Tremors, but that would be your vision of the sand and the worms. And also...
Well, no, but you were...
Tremors and Tremors 2,
like,
they didn't learn the first time.
You were describing sort of like inner city sewers, cementy, slime, mucus, like underground waterways, and all of that made me think.
Yeah,
chud.
It was way more chud.
I'm not connected. Yeah, not connected to the worms, but yeah. Okay, we're getting into the weeds here. Anything else that we want to recommend to the folks out there in podcast town?
I don't know.
Not Worm Town.
I've been just working and listening to a lot of podcasts lately, and nothing new. Just I guess I did Helping Friendly Pod, which I don't normally plug on here for a number of reasons. I just saw that they are doing these deep dives into single songs and doing their favorite versions. So there's 3 of them, and they're picking one person to do their top 4, and then the other ones are doing top 4s. And I wrote them a little note and was like, hey, This seems like a thing that I do on my podcast that's much less famous than yours. We call it our like deep dive section, and it's pretty great. You should check it out. And I think I got a 1-word response from I don't know if it's one of them or their PR team. It just said awesome. Like,
oh, at least it was positive. That's nice.
Hey man, I got a response. So, but I do enjoy it. It's a little dry, I think sometimes, but it's really fun to hear other people both agree with you and I in many ways on lots of Phish, but also people that love 2 and 3.0 way more than I do.
Yeah.
And it gets me excited because as I've said on this pod before, there's going to come a time in my life I start to go into those eras, which like I just found this 620 show. I still got stuff to do in 1.0.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
Yeah, I'll get there. And I know I don't think any of them would argue like you don't with my feelings about those eras, but it's been fun to listen to. The last one was what did I listen to? I can't remember. They were discussing a lot of Japan 2000 and saying release a whole box set of that. And when you brought it up tonight, I was like, yeah, that would be great.
Absolutely.
So I think they're like they're cousins to what we're doing. I think they're doing good work. And I recommend, if you're really into Phish listening, I'm sure if you listen to this, you probably listen to that. But I'd kind of given up on it for a long time. I thought it was all too modern. And they were doing Down with Diseases. So that was really fun to listen to. Mm-hmm. I went and listened to a couple.
That's an overwhelming task.
Yeah, I was proud of them, right? I was like, all right, you guys are going to do this. Let's go. They did the work. It was good.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of really phenomenal 3.0 Down with Diseases.
Yeah, so do they.
So I'm sure they. So did they.
Yeah.
So did they.
Yeah.
I want to just tell one quick story before we head out.
Yeah.
It's a story of hope. It's a story of goodwill.
Please.
And it's really happy. Last week I got home from work and I popped onto Reddit and the music thread and got a message from a woman who said that she was sick and she has epilepsy and had a seizure and had tickets to go see Heart and Todd Rundgren, in like a couple hours that night, and wanted to know if anybody wanted to go. So I sent her a message, said, hey, I'm so sorry you got sick, but I'd love these tickets. I'm going to take my son to go see it. So she sends me the tickets, and it turns out they are front row center in like the big arena here in San Diego. So my 10-year-old son is beyond excited. He actually really does like Queen. He loves classic rock. Barracuda is one of his favorites. Loves Crazy on You. Anyway, we watched the show. It's amazing. He's rocking the rail the whole time. All of the 70-year-old women around are just loving us. And then we get to Barracuda, which is the final song, and the guitar player comes up right to my son Bowie, looks right at him, points at him, winks at him, and then does the fully animated 80s style guitar solo for Barracuda for him. Then when it's all over, reaches down and hands him his personalized picks to take home with him. And it was just like an incredibly special moment for both of us. And I had sent a message back to the woman, saying, I took my son, we had this amazing experience. And she said that her father got her into Heart and he had recently passed and she was going to the show to celebrate him. And that I took my son. It was just this like really great, cosmic kind of link up. And I love it when stuff like this happens.
Yeah.
And I just want to shout out that her name on Reddit is Baby Oleander. Baby Oleander, you rock. And we should all be trying to give away our tickets if we can't go and try and make a miracle. I know that's something that just doesn't even exist in the Phish community. So you probably are like, what is this guy even talking about?
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, that's amazing. You just indoctrinated the kid into rock and roll for the rest of his life. I mean,
he was probably already indoctrinated, but he's really indoctrinated.
Done now.
Yeah.
That's great.
I mean, shit, I've never had an experience like that. I've been to hundreds of concerts.
Now you just stood next to someone that did, and you're like, what? Wait, what? Yeah.
Yeah, Ann Wilson was like staring at him, just like she's like sitting on her stool singing and just staring at him, just with the hugest smile on her face. And just, I mean, I don't know, just glad to be a part of it.
Yeah.
So.
Congratulations.
Support your local musicians and your aging musicians that still need to pay their mortgage.
They do.
So we got to support both of them. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Friends.
All right. Is that it?
listeners, Ian, I think we're gonna go. I think we're gonna call it a night, and we'll be back. If you're listening to these back to back to back, we'll be back in like 30 seconds with night 2, Bright-Eyed and Bushy-Tailed, and Many Days from This Day. So we will be in your ears then. Hello there, friends, and thank you for listening. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or would like to reach out to Ian and I about anything at all, you can find us at companion2thecompanion@gmail.com.